Aloha, yokoso, and welcome to the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce's 120th anniversary celebration. I'm Billy V, and I'm honored to be your host for tonight's event. In case you haven't noticed, we are celebrating virtually, which is a first in the 120 years the HJCC has been in existence. And while we cannot be together physically, we are overjoyed that you are joining us where you are and recognizing the significant milestone for the Chamber in spirit and support. The theme of this event is building upon our past to forge a path forward. The theme embodies Chamber's enduring strength in facing challenging times and historic events from its very beginning and over the decades. Today, as we begin to see hope out of a year of uncertainty, anxiety, and loss, we can focus on looking forward and preparing for the next 120 years. Tonight's event wouldn't be possible without the generous support of our sponsors. Thank you to our platinum sponsors, Island Insurance and Central Pacific Bank Foundation, along with our gold sponsors, Kyoya, Pulamalanai, HEI, and Y Hata & Company, and our brass, silver, and bronze sponsors. We have an exciting lineup for you tonight. Among our featured speakers, you'll be hearing from Bill Coy. He's the director for the Omidyar Fellows Program, who will share some thoughts and insight into leadership. And he'll provide some action items you can put into motion right now. We'll also hear from Micah Kane, Chief Executive Officer and President of the Hawaii Community Foundation and CEO of the Year by Hawaii Business Magazine. They say knowledge is power, and we hope you'll be inspired through Micah's words as we move towards recovery and brighter days ahead. And we'll have fun as well. We've got fantastic musical performances from local award-winning artists Mon Noa DNA and Jake Shimobukuro. And we have an auction. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have an auction. I hope you've had a chance to look through the auction site and have already placed a bid on a few items. Now, if you haven't yet had a chance to peruse the site, head on over to the HJCC website, hjcc.org, to register. You've got until 7 p.m. tonight to place a bid and claim some fabulous items. The auction will close at 7 p.m. We have a number of special messages, not just from Hawaii dignitaries, but from Japan as well. To begin tonight's program, we'll hear from Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce President and CEO Wayne Ishihara and Chamber Board President Jason Ito.
Thank you everyone for your participation to celebrate our 120th celebration, especially to our state government leaders and dignitaries from Japan. We are very proud of our continued legacy. It is amazing to observe the various accomplishments we have achieved and to realize that our primary objective of members supporting members has not changed. We have always stepped up to the plate, overcoming the bubonic plague and fire in Chinatown, moving forward after World War II, combating the recession, and presently dealing with the pandemic. The ability to accomplish major milestones such as creation of the Honolulu Japanese Junior Chamber and Japanese Culture Center of Hawaii, construction of the Torii Gate at the entrance to the Mo'iliili area, and creation of a leadership development program from the celebration of the 20th year of the sister state relationship with Hiroshima Prefecture. Also, development of additional programs in recent years such as climate change education and women's diversity initiatives. We continue to adjust to the changing times, but keeping our focus on members supporting members. Aloha.
Aloha, fellow members, friends, and supporters of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce. Despite all of the challenges brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic, the bright light for us has been the collective commitment and personal dedication of our members and supporters. We've experienced a tremendous amount of learning over the last year. We've learned a lot about each other and from each other. We've learned how to embrace change, how to flex and adapt our events and meetings, and how to be patient as we apply technology into our processes. And most of all, how important it is to wash our hands, social distance, and wear our masks. None of this was easy, but we successfully accomplished it as one team. In fact, just when we thought things were falling apart, things were actually falling into place. Our theme for this celebratory event is building upon our past to forge a path forward. It is so appropriate, as my friend Ilihia Johnson recently said, we move forward stronger when we embrace our history. I am truly confident that the Japanese Chamber is well positioned and prepared for the next 120 years. Mahalo, and thank you all for your tremendous support. Please enjoy our special 120th anniversary video.
Over the last 120 years, the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce has evolved, adapting to significant global events that include 2 world wars and the Great Depression. With the COVID-19 pandemic, our community as a whole has experienced one of the most dramatic and unforeseen events in the last 7 decades. What has remained constant is the Chamber's mission of members supporting members. The Japanese call this shinrai.
What shinrai means is trust and support. And that is the important word that really describes the whole Japanese Chamber of Commerce from its origin.
In March of 1900, to stop the spread of the plague, buildings in Chinatown were systematically torched. But as the wind scattered embers, the fire spread, eventually leading to what is now referred to as the Great Fire. Thousands of Japanese immigrants were left with nothing. Armed with a mission to respond to the crisis and assist the victims, 37 Japanese merchants assembled and formed what was first known as the Honolulu Japanese Merchants Association.
The mission of the organization that they brought together was to make sure that members were supporting members, fostering friendships, and also taking care of the land and the community. And not much has changed in 120 years.
The Chamber has been able to evolve, and I think that's been a very important factor in our success and our existence, and has been able to face challenges that are important to the state at that appropriate time.
After World War II, Japanese American citizens across the country and in Hawaii suffered prejudice and discrimination.
So it was actually my grandfather who was running the business. Most insurance companies still either discriminated or offered rates higher than standard to non-Caucasians. My grandfather went up to the Bank of America, AP Giannini, and fought for equal rates for non-Caucasians. And so we were the first agency in Hawaii to offer non-discriminatory rates, and that helped us immensely in the early years of growing our agency. The Chamber is always there to assist, not only our company, but any member company. They encouraged members to collaborate with other members. I think that was the biggest thing that they helped our company.
This generation's version of the plague, the coronavirus pandemic, has severely impacted the economy and reshaped life for every member of the community. The need for members to support members is as great today as it was 120 years ago.
The coronavirus caused all of us to have to isolate. I started to just call people within the chamber just to check in, and I would ask, how's everything? What are you doing every day? How's this new normal? And it was just a semblance of normalcy. I had one friend who I know from the chamber send me things that I could do, activities with my kids, because I think she could sense that I was very struggling. I was very frustrated. I think we help each other because we know each other and we care about each other. I think that's what the chamber is.
Businesses are being challenged, but adapting. It's a new way of operating and providing products and services.
How do you think, how you recreate your business, and how you work together to satisfy your customers' needs are very, very important. Not only understanding other businesses, but also trying to understand how we can help each other, how we learn from each other, and how they learn from us.
Along with businesses, the Chamber has adapted to the times. The HJCC today recognizes the needs of the community through the Women's Diversity Initiative, Small Business Advocacy Group, and International Relations with the Japan Business Relations Committee.
We have a lot of women members. I think it's important that we have a place where we can gather and we can help each other. I have a picture of my grandmother in my office. She started a very small sewing school. Found pictures of her with maybe 6 students, and then I found pictures of her with 300 students, and we found pictures of her traveling to Japan with dresses and hats and having parties with geishas, and I thought that was so cool. If she could do that 100 years ago, you know, what can Women's Initiative of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce do today? You know, and if I could be a part of that, that would be just wonderful.
The Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce provides for members a unique blend of friendship, networking, and international business connections.
Our owner personally loves Hawaii. We decided to open store in here again and starting with the construction and arranging logistics for importing products from Japan and highly local stuff. We had to consider 2 separate rules and regulation within a limited time frame and human resources. It was the most difficult part for us. HJCC provided us a lot of great advices and supports. Without long and constant efforts of HJCC, I think it would never happen.
And while the future will look much different moving forward, the Chamber remains willing to embrace change with resiliency and hope to forge a path to recovery.
Even with this pandemic, we have the ability, because of our strong roots, for us to move forward and also to incorporate all the things that we've learned before and also be able to incorporate what's happening now.
A shared vision of the next 120 years is rooted in the collective history of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce and its spirit of Shinrai, members supporting members.
So much rich history within the Chamber. And with so many accomplishments over the decades, this truly is a celebration 120 years in the making. Did you know that the first headquarters for the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce was at the Yokohama Specie Bank, located at the corner of Bethel and Merchant Street? It then moved to the downtown Young Buddhist Association building on Cherry Lane, then the Japanese Consulate building. And finally, in 1960, it built its own facilities on Beretania Street, where it's currently located. And as many of you know, in 1992, that facility was torn down to accommodate the current Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii building. We've got a few more interesting facts about the HJCC as we go throughout the evening. We are so honored to have VIP join us from near and far with special congratulatory messages. At this time, we want to welcome the Governor of the State of Hawaii, David Ige, followed by the Mayor of the City and County of Honolulu, Rick Blangiardi.
Good evening and aloha. As Governor of the State of Hawaii, I am honored to offer my congratulations to the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce upon its 120th anniversary. The Honolulu Japanese Chamber has evolved from 37 Japanese merchants organized as the Honolulu Japanese Merchants Association into an active, vibrant organization supporting business and economic development, promoting Hawaii-Japan relations, and encouraging civic engagement amongst its members. In addition to building its business network, HJCC helped to preserve the legacy and history of Japanese in Hawaii by establishing the Japanese Cultural Center of Hawaii. The Honolulu Japanese Chamber also played a leadership role in building the relationship with the Hiroshima Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I applaud the HJCC for building bridges and strengthening relationships between Honolulu and Hiroshima. In total, the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce has a proud 120-year legacy of service in the city and county of Honolulu and the state of Hawaii. Mahalo to Chamber Chairman Mr. Jason Ito, Chamber President Wayne Ishihara, and the Board of Directors for your hard work. and best wishes to you in the coming years. Mahalo.
Aloha and congratulations to the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce on your 120th anniversary. Now, the Chamber was formed 120 years ago by 37 Japanese merchants. And these merchants came to assist thousands of Japanese immigrants who were impacted and displaced by the devastating 1900 Chinatown fire, known as the Great Fire. Now, this fire burned out of control in an attempt to stop the spread of the bubonic plague. So as we face the reality of our current situation, it reminds us of the hardships experienced by past generations and how they banded together to foster close relationships and help one another by supporting businesses. And today, HJCC continues to provide unwavering support to its members and to the business community. So I join you in celebrating this momentous occasion, recognizing the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce and the more than a century of committing to its mission and values. Congratulations.
Mahalo to Governor and Mayor Rick Blangiardi for those special messages. Time now for some special entertainment. Performing just for you tonight, it is father and sons Lloyd, Nick, and Alex Kawakami who make up the group Ma Noa DNA. 7 Nahoku nominations and the 2007 Hawaii Music Award Contemporary Album of the Year winner. Ma Noa DNA has been entertaining audiences here and in Japan, and tonight they are performing just for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Ma Noa DNA.
Hey, aloha everybody, we're Ma Noa DNA and we just want to wish the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce a happy 120th anniversary.
Since 1901, when a group of Japanese merchants came to the aid of thousands of Japanese immigrants who were devastated by the Great Chinatown Fire in 1900, their legacy of helping and supporting their community continues on today.
In a great example of history repeating itself, the Chamber finds itself helping the community again, helping businesses support other businesses during this troubled time, and it is a reminder to all of us of the great work that the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce has put in over the last 120 years.
So on behalf of Alex and I, Ma Noa DNA, we join you all in celebrating this great occasion, along with the 40th anniversary of the Hiroshima Sister City relationship. And we wish you all the best in the years ahead.
We'd like to thank all the volunteers who put this event together, as well as all the planning committee, and we'd like to wish you guys once again a happy 120th anniversary, and we look forward to working with you guys more as the years go on. Thank you for everything you do. We'll see you guys soon. Aloha.
That's so far away, where the mountains and the ocean play together as the palm trees sway.
The mana of our islands has a special place in your heart. E como mai, everybody come and join us from near or far. So nice, dance the hula to your favorite melody. Only in Hawaii. Learn to surf, build a castle, feel the warmth of the sand, or go hiking to the top of Mauna Kea and see all that you special islands with aloha in your memory. Spread the word that ohana in Hawaii means your family. Celebrate your life in a place so nice. Dance the hula to your favorite melody. Only in Hawaii.
They are awesome. Once again, Hawaii recording artist Ma Noa DNA. Hey, have you checked on your auction bid recently? Once again, the auction closes at 7 tonight, so be sure to place your bids now. And a special thank you to our generous donors who contributed to our auction. All the funds raised tonight will further the Chamber's mission of members supporting members. Time for more interesting facts. Did you know that the first woman chair of the HJCC was Mieko Otsuka, the founder and chair of the board of Circle Rainbow Air? Miss Otsuka was the first woman pilot in Japan. HJCC is proud to have grown its membership to include women who represent a number of successful companies and organizations in Hawaii. And these women members have contributed significantly to the success of the Chamber over the years. Today, 38% of the HJCC Board of Director leadership team is comprised of women. We are thrilled to have our next speaker be a part of tonight's anniversary event. Bill Coy is the director of the Omidyar Fellows, a societal change program that seeks to cultivate the conditions in which Hawaii thrives. Organizational and leadership development have been a primary focus of Bill's work for the past 25 years. He's been a coach and consultant to more than 250 executive leaders, including departmental chairs at Stanford Medical School, senior level executives from the World Bank, Honda USA, and major philanthropic foundations. And as the director, Bill is responsible for the overall success and external impact of the Omidyar Fellows program and the Forum of Fellows. He created the original model of the Omidyar Fellows program, including the curriculum and integration of the Forum of Fellows. We are incredibly fortunate to have Bill join us tonight to provide his thoughts and advice on leadership in times of change. Please welcome Mr. Bill Coy.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share a few thoughts with you regarding leadership at this very particular time for us. We sense we're both coming through difficulty and looking forward to orienting ourselves and getting a better sense of direction and movement. Like a ship coming through a storm, we may feel some relief, but leadership requires paying much more attention to ourselves, our people, and the work we're trying to do in an environment that is constantly changing. It is unsettled. I think COVID has really caused a reframing moment for all of us as we're trying to orient towards what we need to do next. Leadership is essentially geared toward making society better, and better is being defined as being more resilient, equitable, and creating the capacity to thrive, particularly in a place like Hawaii where there's such deep interconnections and that community and leadership is so valuable to what it is we're all trying to accomplish. In a short 10 minutes, I'd like to share a few thoughts with you about the nature of leadership, the challenges at hand, and what we must do next. We've been really fortunate to work with Marty Linsky from the Kennedy School, and Marty's one of the real progenitors of what's referred to as the adaptive frame. A couple of things that we all believe about leadership, or things we've learned about leadership, are that first and foremost, leadership is an activity, not a position. Oftentimes we're called to be in a position of responsibility and leadership, and we don't really manifest it or make it real until we start acting as leaders. And it's leadership activity that has power, not the position in and of itself. We have to be able to distinguish between technical work versus adaptive work. Technical work solves really immediate, pressing, at times important problems that usually can be solved because we know what the answer is and we apply that answer to the solution. Adaptive work is much deeper and much more significant. It requires us to look at some of our suppositions, our beliefs, our habits, our behaviors, and how we act in the world. Many times there is a relationship between the technical work versus the adaptive work, much like community health, where there could be some solutions, whether it's providing insulin to a diabetic or something that requires an immediate solution, We know the longer term solution is adaptive, which means a change of behavior, diet, exercise, the things that are much more difficult to do, but have much more profound impacts. Adaptive leadership is really specifically about change that enables the capacity to thrive. And those are really kind of important to think about change that enables the capacity to thrive, that we empower and create an environment, resources, possibilities, models that allow people to thrive. And adaptive challenges are really about us being able to change our priorities, our beliefs, our habits, and loyalties for the sake of a compelling purpose. The current system that we have, how we're oriented, is geared toward certain priorities, beliefs, and loyalties. And how do we realign those so that we increase the capacity and to thrive beyond the most immediate and compelling needs? Adaptive leadership has really no choice but to build upon and not jettison the past. This is so critical for us to understand and appreciate the fact that we don't start where we want to start. We have to start where we are, which means that we understand the story and the path that we've trod and how we got here, how we understand where we are, and build upon the lessons that we've learned, the alliances that we've created, and the opportunities that we engage. There are three critical skills that I really want to focus on in terms of thinking about how we build upon an adaptive frame. And those three skills are diagnosing situations, intervening skillfully, and really engaging other people. The first thing you do is always, when there's a problem, there's an issue, you do the diagnostics first. The key question around diagnosing situations is, what's the story we are telling? We are creatures that love and need narrative and create and craft stories. And so we're telling a current story about where we are and how we got here. So what's the story we're telling? And what's the story other people are telling? And how does that inform what we believe is going on and what possible solutions might be? Which leads us to really intervening skillfully. Really, what actions or interventions are needed right now? And oftentimes we revert to the interventions or the actions that we have always used. And sometimes those are appropriate. And sometimes it requires us to develop new skills, new capacities, new interventions, because the situation or circumstances changed. And lastly, engaging other people. How do we build bridges between factions? Leadership in its essence requires you to engage others. If you don't have other people engaged, you're not leading, you're doing a solo act. So if you're going to lead people, you have to know how to effectively engage others. And how do you create bonds, not just with you, but with bonds with each other in order to feel like you're getting movement, progress, and direction? The current reality has been described as being VUCA. VUCA is a term that really comes from the military when they're talking about a theater of operations where there's volatility, there's uncertainty, there's complexity, there's ambiguity. This was something both in Iraq and Afghanistan that the strategists were struggling with as they're trying to create a coherent set of actions that would help them create capacity for victory. Volatility is that there's unexpected, unstable, and unknown duration. We just have so many different pieces that are really connected to each other, and it's not hard to understand, but knowledge is often unavailable to us. Uncertainty. Despite a lack of information, the event's basic cause and effects might be known, but change is possible, but not a given. Complexity. The situation has many interconnected parts and variables. Some information is available or can be predicted, but the volume or nature of it can be overwhelming to process. Ambiguity. Causal relations are completely unclear. No precedent exists. You face a lot of unknown unknowns. You don't know what it is you don't know. And as you're trying to lead people through a time of VUCA, it requires added capacity that we have to pay attention to. And I think as we're coming out of the most immediate chapter of COVID, I think there's a lot of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. I was in conversation with a colleague of mine, Deb Howard, who does leadership work back east. And Deb shared a thought with me that I think is really relevant. She says that any plans during a time of VUCA will cause anxiety. We must see any plan or action as an experiment. I think that's really critical to think about, because oftentimes we're looking for the answer, that we find the answer, we execute the answer. I think we're better off if we can think about how we can experiment and try things and not get locked into one answer at one point in time. If we're going to experiment and try new solutions, it requires three things. It requires us to be on both the dance floor and the balcony. This is a Marty Linsky phrase that's about our ability as leaders to get above what's going on and stand at the balcony and look beyond the larger scope and scale to the horizon, what's going on in the dynamic, but also get off the balcony and get on the dance floor, to work with people, look at them eye to eye, engage shoulder to shoulder to find what the work is and what people are seeing and what people know and understand. The second experimentation requirement is the ability to tolerate ambiguity and allow emergence. Sometimes solution needs to emerge, and we have to be willing to let go of some of our control and be more ambiguous and have some comfort level with what is possible and what will emerge. Really tied to the very last experimentation requirement is the willingness to manage our own hungers and fears. We really, as leaders, we have both of those. We get hungry for solutions, for acknowledgement, for presence, and we get afraid. We don't want to let people down. We don't want to disappoint stakeholders. We don't want to disappoint ourselves. And we have to be able to understand that those drivers cannot be the only things that will guide our actions or guide our thoughts or our words as leaders. So the three things that I would leave you with is really our ability to be on the dance floor and the balcony, to tolerate ambiguity and allow emergence, and to manage your own hungers and fears. Lastly, I just want to congratulate the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce for 120 years of service to the larger community. I wish you well and deeply appreciate all the great work that you have done in serving the entire community. So may the rest of your event go well, and I thank you for this chance.
Mahalo, Bill. Great advice, and hopefully what he has shared tonight will resonate with you. For more information about the Omidyar Fellows program, you can visit their website at omidyarfellows.org. 120 years of serving members and the business community is no small achievement. We have the pleasure and the honor of receiving congratulatory messages from the Consul General of Japan, Mr. Yutaka Aoki, and Minister of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Toshimitsu Motegi.
Aloha everyone. I would like to first of all offer my heartfelt congratulations for the 120th anniversary of the founding of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce. For well over a century, the HJCC has played a key role in strengthening the friendship between Hawaii and Japan at the grassroots level. Furthermore, my successors have historically considered the Chamber to be an important and reliable partner organization. So today, on behalf of the past 47 Consuls General of Japan and myself, I wish to take this opportunity to express my deep appreciation for the cooperation and assistance we have received and continue to receive from the Chamber. There are many Japanese chambers of commerce worldwide, but I do not know of any other than the one here in Hawaii, which offers the support not just in business matters, but in matters relating to the cultural exchange and community resource development, among other things, and all done in English. To me, the HJCC is not just a chamber with a long history. It has been and will continue to embody the future and all of the potential it holds. As we move forward, I would like to extend my best wishes of success to the Chamber in all of its endeavors, with the hope that it will flourish further and continue to strengthen the friendship between Hawaii and Japan in the decades to come. Mahalo.
Aloha. ホノルル日本人商工会議所の創立120周年おめでとうございます。本日の記念行事に参加されている皆様には、長年にわたりハワイと日本の交流拡大、 協力強化に多大な貢献をいただいていることに心より感謝いたします。ホノルル日本人商工会議所は全米各地にある日系商工会議所の中でも最も長い歴史を誇ります。創立当初の目的だった日系企業の相互扶助にとどまらず、現在では多くのハワイ企業の参加も得て、日米両国の友好関係の礎としてさまざまな活動をしていただいています。例えば、日本文化を後世に継承するために設立されたハワイ日本文化センターは日ハワイ交流の中心になっています。また、次世代ビジネスリーダーに対する研修によって日本とハワイの将来を担う人材を育成するなど、極めて良好な日ハワイ関係は皆様の活動によって支えられています。ハワイ州は州の人口のうち1割以上日系人が占めるなど、米国の中でも最も日本とのつながりが強い地域です。故ダニエル・井上氏をはじめ、何世代にもわたって多くの日系人が活躍しています。バイデン新政権が気候変動を重視する中で、再生可能エネルギーの分野では、すでに90年代から協力を進めてきており、古くて新しい日ハワイ協力の機会が広がっていることに大きな期待を寄せています。成功に終わった菅総理の訪米も踏まえ、このような分野での日米協力がさらに拡大するものと確信しています。皆様には引き続き日米の架け橋として大きな役割を担っていただくことを期待しています。マハロ。
Mahalo to Consul General Aoki and Minister Motegi for those special messages. Once again, thank you to our platinum sponsors, Island Insurance and Central Pacific Bank Foundation, for their generous support of tonight's event. With more now on why they support the Chamber, let's hear from Island Insurance.
My grandfather, Masayuki Tokioka, started the company over 80 years ago. Since its beginning, Island Insurance has been guided by the mission of delivering expert insurance solutions and superior service to our customers, and we have always remembered our local roots and made it a priority to help our community. In fact, our motto at Island Insurance is always here to help, but it's more than just a saying, it's who we are. Among our goals to help Hawaii thrive and overcome challenges through our service to community and industry leadership. The Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce shares a similar goal through its 120-year history. The Chamber's mission of members supporting members has demonstrated the strength of community, as it really is the community that supports our organizations with employees and customers, and taking the lead in helping others through challenging times. Which is why Island Insurance is proud to sponsor the HJCC as it celebrates its 120th anniversary. Island Insurance has been a legacy member of the Chamber, and we congratulate the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce on its success today and for the next 120 years.
While we are recognizing the Chamber's 120th anniversary, we also are celebrating two other milestones. This year marks the 40th anniversary of the HJCC Sister City Relations with Hiroshima, an affiliated relationship with the Fukui Chamber of Commerce and Industry. The HJCC established the relationship with the Hiroshima Chamber of Commerce and Industry in 1981. However, the Chamber's ties reached farther back when it joined the city and county of Honolulu as it developed its first sister city relationship with Hiroshima City in 1959. Over the decades, the relationship with these two chambers have been flourished and has been strengthened. These sister city relationships help HJCC to recognize its role both locally and with Japan in fostering a greater understanding and promoting business between the two chambers and its members. In commemoration of the HJCC's 100th anniversary, the Hiroshima Chamber of Commerce and Industry worked with the Hiroshima prefectural government and the city of Hiroshima to raise funds for the construction of the replica of the world-famous Torii Gate, which now stands in Mo Ili Ili, symbolizing the friendship and goodwill between Hiroshima and Honolulu. We are honored to have congratulatory messages from Mr. Koji Ikeda, Chair of the Hiroshima Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Mr. Tadaaki Ito, Chair of the Fukui Chamber of Commerce and Industry.
広島商工会議所会頭の池田と申します。ホノルル日本人商工会議所におかれましては、昨年創立120周年をお迎えになり、誠におめでとうございます。記所におかれましては、1900年の創立以来、幾多の変遷を経ながらも、ホノルルのビジネス、産業の発展、ハワイと日本との経済交流の推進に寄与されてこられました。これまでの記所の取り組みに対し、深く敬意を表しますとともに、記所の今後ますますのご発展を記念いたしております。また、本年は、記所との姉妹縁組締結40周年となる記念すべき年でございます。40年もの長きにわたり、私たちの交流の礎を築いてこられました諸先輩方のご尽力に感謝申し上げます。本書では、今春周年記念事業としてホノルル訪問団を派遣する予定でしたが、新型コロナウイルスの世界的な感染拡大により、残念ながら延期いたしました。来年はぜひ訪問したいと考えており、皆様とお会いできる日を大変楽しみにしております。どうぞよろしくお願いいたします。結びに、120周年をお迎えになりました記所の今後ますますのご発展を記念するとともに、私たちの友情の絆が一層深まることを希望し、お祝いの言葉といたします。この度は誠におめでとうございます。
福井商工会議所会頭の伊藤忠明でございます。この度、ホノルル日本人商工会議所が創立120周年の節目を迎えられましたことを心よりお祝い申し上げます。紀伊商工会議所は創立以来、会員企業の経済的発展を支えるだけでなく、ホノルルと日本の架け橋となって相互の文化交流にご尽力をいただいておりますことに敬意と感謝の意を表します。また今年はホノルル日本人商工会議所と福井商工会議所との友好提携が結ばれて40周年の記念すべき年になります。長年にわたり友好関係を続けてこられましたのは、伊藤会頭をはじめ歴代関係者のご努力の賜物であり、福井を代表して改めてお礼を申し上げます。私自身、ハワイの美しい海や自然が大好きで何度も訪れているお気に入りの場所でございます。一方の福井は歴史、文化、食など東京や大阪とは違った魅力がたくさん詰まった土地でございます。しばらくは我慢の日々が続きますが、新型コロナウイルスが収束した後にはすぐに相互交流を再開し、皆様と直接お会いできることを楽しみにしております。ぜひ福井にもお越しください。結びに、ホノルル日本人商工会議所のますますのご発展と皆様方のご健勝をご記念申し上げ、お祝いのメッセージとさせていただきます。本日は誠におめでとうございます。
Mahalo not only for the congratulatory messages, but also to our sister cities for those kind words as well. And now, it's time to introduce our keynote speaker. Micah Kane is the CEO and president of the Hawaii Community Foundation. It's the state's largest and oldest foundation that works with individuals, families, foundations, government agencies, and organizations to transform lives and improve our communities. Prior to taking on the role in July 2017 as the third CEO and president in HCF's 100-year history, Micah served as its president and chief operating officer. He also served as an HCF Board of Governor for 8 years before joining HCF. Micah's work experience includes Pacific Links International, Hawaiian Homes Commission, and the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. Micah currently serves as a trustee for the Kamehameha Schools and as a corporate board of director with the Hawaiian Electric Industries. Last year, Micah was recognized as CEO of the Year by Hawaii Business Magazine. We welcome Micah Kane.
Aloha mai kako. Mahalo for the opportunity to be with you, and congratulations on celebrating 120 years. I would like to first acknowledge your leadership, Chairman Jason Ito, and members of the Board of Directors. Mahalo for your time, your dedication, and the work in honoring your heritage, embracing our diversity, and sharing our future. The work you are doing at the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce is making a difference, and my family has been a beneficiary of your work. Mahalo. I would like to dedicate my short time with you today to a very dear friend and mentor who recently passed, Mr. Shige Iwamoto. I know many of you know him, respect him as I do, and wish him spiritual eternity. I will miss him dearly. Shige grew up in Uluwalo Plantation on Maui, graduated from Lahaina High School in class of 1946, later went on to the University of Hawaii, where he received both his bachelor's degree of science and master's in education from Temple University. He was motivated, and he was a clever local little boy growing up in Maui. You can tell by this rascal picture here. On his return to Hawaii, he had a beautiful family and started an illustrious career both in business and politics that spanned every governor since statehood, with cherished relationships that he developed with many of them. I wish his family peace. Selfishly, being here today provides me an opportunity to also thank you for something that is very, very near and dear to my heart. I feel very honored that over the past 25 years, I've been welcomed by my wife's Japanese ohana. I've grown tremendously from them. She's a sixth generation, and her ancestor, Tokujiro Sato, came to Hawaii as part of the Ganin Mono. As you know, a few years ago, HJCC of Hawaii recognized the Ganin Mono with a complete museum showcasing their journey and the evolution of the Japanese heritage and the amazing positive impact your heritage had on Hawaii, our country, and our world. Both my wife's grandfathers served in the 442, Kenji Segawa from Ka'u on the Big Island, and Wataru Iwanaga from Hulualoa, also on the Big Island. They provided our family an important foundation by which we have benefited tremendously. Their spirit remains as a pillar of strength for our family. While I am very proud of my Hawaiian heritage, it is equally important to me that our three daughters, and now my granddaughter, understand and appreciate the contribution and positive impact their Japanese heritage has had on Hawaii and all that they should be proud of. It was one of my highlights of my life when we were able to take our daughters back to Japan to visit the Kumamoto Prefecture, where their ancestors came from. Not to mention, the food was outstanding, and I'm still wearing it today. I would like to spend the balance of my time culminating to a call to action. It's a call to action that is extremely relevant to the period we are going through today. Beyond the sacrifice of the Nisei community that served in World War II, which was immense, those that made it back continued to sacrifice. When they returned in the late 1940s and 1950s, there were tremendous inequities their families had to deal with. There wasn't fair and equitable access to education. There wasn't fair and equitable access to standard support that one would need to compete in business, like fair banking services, fair access to banking services. Hence the startup of Central Pacific Bank. The systems at that time were built for others, not them, and access and entry was not possible. They again sacrificed in the 1950s by challenging the status quo. They engaged civically, definitely risking their jobs and at sometimes risking their lives in hopes of providing a better opportunity for the next generation. The strikes of 1946, where thousands and thousands of plantation workers across all ethnicities band together for equity, and they were successful. They elected leaders that believed as they did, and the next generation prospered. And as a result, Hawaii became a better place. That was 7 generations ago. and we unfortunately find ourselves in a similar situation today. In many ways, we've come full circle. Today, many do not have fair, equitable access to education. Today, our housing system is broken, and our children have lost hope that they can own a home here. In fact, both sides of the balance sheet are broken. Our wages and salaries can't compete with the mainland, and the aggregated cost of living in Hawaii is far too high. Our systems are broken. If we expect to see a Hawaii 50 years from now that still embraces all that we stand for, it will require a similar movement like that of our Nisei generation that engaged in some 70 years ago. They recognized their movement would require many leaders with a shared goal and collective action by all. They knew that no one leader would pull this off, but solidarity by many increased their odds tremendously. I believe our competitive advantage actually sits in that 70-year journey. It is the evolution of our common heritage, one that is anchored in the host culture, but embraces all that is great about the other cultures that have come after. This common heritage is grounded in a common goal that Hawaii must lead the world if we expect to survive and hopefully someday thrive. Some of you may remember Reverend Paul Osumi's Today's Thought. He posted a thought each day that was printed in the Honolulu Advertiser for decades. I have one of his thoughts framed above my desk at home that I force myself to look at daily. It's called Room at the Top. I would like to read it for you. If you believe anything at all, believe in yourself. Believe that you are born to succeed. Aim high. There is plenty of room at the top. It is the bottom that is crowded. Once your sights have been set on high ambitions, proceed on course without faltering. Constantly keep the mental image of your aim before you as you go toward your achievement. I think it's time we adhere to Reverend Oshiro's thought. O wao no kumikaa'a, in my most humblest way. And again, ho'omai ka'iana, congratulations. Mahalo and aloha.
Mahalo, Michael Kane, for those powerful words. As part of the HJCC mission to assist the community, a donation will be made to the Hawaii Community Foundation through the net proceeds of tonight's virtual event and silent auction. The HJCC is an organization founded for the promotion of business and economic growth based on the principle of members supporting members. The HJCC provides leadership and a wide range of programs for members which promote a diverse membership and engaging membership interaction. The result is growth and the continuation of its legacy. For the last 120 years, the HJCC has been creating opportunities, fostering friendships, connecting B2B, and Ma'alamakaina, caring for the land. If you're not a member of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce, please consider joining this prestigious organization. Visit hjcc.org for more information. Oh, and one final reminder, the auction closes at 7 p.m. You have just a few minutes left to grab that item that you've been eyeing. Once the auction closes, you'll be notified if you're the winning bid. And if you are, congratulations. And now, he has challenged and changed all notions of what is possible with an ukulele. With this complex fingerwork and fusion of musical genres, Jake Shimabukuro has created a fan following literally around the world. The ukulele virtuoso is a multi-Nahoku Hanohana Award and Hawaii Music Award winner, and tonight he is performing just for you. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Hawaii recording artist Jake Shimabukuro.
Aloha, I'm Jake Shimabukuro. It's an honor to be here to celebrate with you virtually for the 120th anniversary of the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to play one of my favorite songs for you. This is one that my grandmother would sing to me. It's called Koko ni Sachiari. Yoroshiku onegai shimasu. Thank you. Japanese Chamber of Commerce was formed 120 years ago by 37 Japanese merchants. In a true example of history repeating itself, the HJCC once again finds itself assisting and helping our local businesses during this current situation. It reminds us of the hardships of past generations and how we all need to band together and support one another to get through our most challenging times. I also applaud the HJCC as it recognizes its 40th anniversary of its sister city relations with Hiroshima. I want to send out a huge thank you to the planning committee and everyone involved in making this virtual event possible. And a big special shout out to Joe Kuromoto and Stacy Hayashi for reaching out and including me to be part of this wonderful event. Congratulations and best wishes to the Honolulu Japanese Chamber of Commerce for being a tremendous role model of resilience and a great resource for years to come. Let's have a joyous and memorable 120th anniversary event. Thank you so much. Aloha.
Mahalo, Jake, for that awesome performance and also for sharing your personal, intimate stories. Check out jakeshimabukuro.com for more information for the latest on Jake's newest releases and concert dates. And that brings us to the end of our 120th anniversary event. Thank you to our platinum sponsors, Island Insurance and Central Pacific Bank Foundation, along with our gold sponsors, Kyoya, Pulamalanai, HEI, and Y Hata and Company, and our brass, silver, and bronze sponsors. As member supporting members, please support these companies that have been so generous tonight. And thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support, and congratulations to HJCC on their 120th anniversary. Ma lamapuno, aloha ahui ho. Be well. Aloha.